Hey guys, in this video I'll be showing you guys how to make your real Lineage life system. So in this life system it's going to be a little bit complex for new people, but I'll make sure I'll make it really simple for you guys. So what we're going to be doing inside this video is first we're going to be making our two parts that we're going to use so I can reference inside of the little clips I show in the beginning of the videos. So for a decrease, this is going to decrease the player's life value to 1, and this will increase the player's life value to 5. So every time they step on it, their life value will change to 5. That's how we're going to be referencing inside the video. Pretty simple, starting off with that. And this is just a kill part. So when I step on it, I die. So I can just show it. Just be easier for me instead of just resetting all the time. So basically, that's just like the simple stuff I just want to get out the way. So now, before we start this, we want to go into starter GUI, and we're going to have two screen GUIs. And these screen GUIs are going to contain these are going to contain how we're going to be able to give our player more lives when they're in purgatory and when they have 0 lives. And we're going to have one that just displays our lives. So in here we have live display, we have a frame, we have our local script, we have our text display. And this text display is going to show our lives, going to have 0 in it. So we put a local script under frame, and what we're going to do here, we're going to locate player lives. And well, before we locate lives, let me go inside the server scripts here. I'll show you guys how we locate it first. Okay, so inside of here, we're going to do local save data. So remember, this is our server script service. So local save data, we're going to get our data store, and then we're going to set the name for the data store to lives. So every time we change this, the data store is going to change. So everybody starts off with like 3 lives. Now we're going to just locate character and humanoid. Now we're going to make our instance.new. We're going to make a folder, and we're going to locate to the player. Now we're going to name it the system folder, so we know that this is actual system. This is our actual system folder. Then we're going to make our lives, and we're going to make lives with int value. We're going to parent it to the system folder, and then we're going to make it equal to 3. So when the player joins the game, they have 3 lives. We're going to name it lives so we know what it is. We're going to have local times equals instance.new. We're going to have the int value, and we're going to parent it to our system folder. And we're going to make it the time.value equal to os.time. So the reason we're making it to os.time is so we can indicate every single time an hour passes. We're going to be using this so we can tell the player leaves the game, and the player leaves the game and they come back, let's say like an hour later, they're going to get a life. We don't want that. We want that so the current time they're in the game for, they have to be in the game for the 1 hour, so their time can so they can get a life over time. And then we're going to do times.name equals times. And then now we're going to make our data store so we can save our lives and our time, so we can make our real Lineage life system come to life. So we're going to make local success and value equal pcall function. Then we'll return save data get async player.userid. So all we're doing is we're going to be returning the player user ID because we want to return the player.userid because it will be more accurate, because the player, if we have player.name, they change their name, their data is gone, and or if they're banned, they can come right back because they changed their name. So that's why we're using user ID, because it's more reliable. So inside of this function right here, we're doing life changing. So every time the player loses a life, we'll be able to indicate that, okay, if they lose a life, every time the life is changing. So let's say this value goes down to 2, it's that this is going to fire. We're making our local function, we're going to fire it inside of here. What we're doing here basically is if the lives value is equal to 0, then we're going to parent the player's human root part to our no life part, to our no life part.c frame. And if you look inside our workspace, our no life part here is right here. So if I was to come over here, our no life part here, so our character would spawn right here inside of our little tiny purgatory house. So after we do that, we're gonna so we want to make sure that our lives don't pass 0. So let's say our lives, our lives is -1, and 0 is greater than -1. We're just gonna set it equal to 0, and we're gonna do else if our value is higher than 15, because we want to make 15 our maximum value. And then it's going to reset to 15. So every time it's changing, we're just going to reset it back to 15. And now we're going to do local function check time. Okay, so this is going to be super simple. I hope you guys will understand it. So every time this is going to be 5, we're going to do this. Time.value equals time.value plus 1. So all we're doing, we're just adding 1 to the os.time So it's just os.time plus 1. Plus equals 1. It should be really simple to understand. I hope you guys don't get confused, because that might be the most complex thing that people don't understand, because it's not really using scripts, and people really don't like actually see this a lot. So this is probably something new to everybody. So now we're gonna do if time.value is greater than or equal to 3,600 seconds, meaning that this is an hour. Just I'm pretty sure this should be this is 3,600. That should be an hour, correct? And then we're gonna set the time value equal to 0. We're gonna add up a live to their player. So we can do plus equals 1 here. You can just make it all the way out like this. Then we're gonna end it, and then we're gonna fire our live changing. So for our live changing, what we're doing here, we're gonna fire it first. So we can actually update the players. So we can actually update if the player has 0 lives when they join the game, they can actually spawn at the no life part and not spawn inside the game with 0 lives. And now we're gonna tie it to our function. So every time the lives change, we connect it, and then every time the live change, this will keep firing. And now we're gonna do if success and then the value. Then we're gonna set our values and our times dot value equal to value 1 and value 2. And then we're gonna do else. We're gonna, if this does not pass, we're gonna make it equal to 0. That means the time is gonna be 0 and their lives is gonna be 3. So we're gonna set to the default. Then we're gonna do spawn function while wait 1. Do check time because we want to make sure this is always running, so we can always check if the player is like actually like so if they leave the game, it's more optimizable. So when they come back and they have like 5 minutes left, it's gonna actually be 5 minutes until they get their extra life first thing in the game for an hour. Now we're gonna do player.removing. We're gonna do the player.removing function. We're gonna connect it. We're gonna run player to the parameters. We're gonna make a stat table where we're gonna be able to run. We're gonna be able to locate our live.value. Remember system.photo.live.value. Then we're gonna locate our times.value. Remember, the way you locate it is you locate what it's parented to. So system folder, and then it's gonna be lives and then times. Remember, these are two separate things. So system folder.lives and then system folder.times. And then we're gonna do local success error. We're gonna have error here. So if it errors, it's gonna tell us what the error actually is. We're gonna do success error, and then we're gonna return the player user ID, and we're gonna attach it to this table right here. Super simple, and if it errors, it's gonna print the error. Then we do game bind and close. Bind and close is super effective because player.removing, it can sometimes it can bug out and not save the player data when they leave the game. But bind and close will ensure this will actually help the player save the data when they leave the game. So we're basically just gonna do everything we did in here and put in the bind and close, and that's everything that we did inside this little data store. Hope this was super simple. I explained it in my other video, so I'm just not trying to make this repetitive, but I hope you guys really understand this data store part. So basically, we're just doing what we did here and just doing it here. So every time the player leaves the game, this will run because we want to make sure that our player data is actually saving. And now, if we go into the local script, now if we locate live because we do player wait for child system folder. System folder is all the way up here. So system folders. Then we're gonna do .lives, and we're gonna look at our player GUI. Then we're gonna look at our text display. After we look at our text display, we're gonna locate character.humanoid, and then after we do that, we're gonna make our function that's gonna update the lives. So we're gonna do text display.text. Now let me go down so I can make it more easier for you guys. So we have text display. Text display.text equals lives, and then we're gonna put our little semicolons, and we're gonna put space in between it. Then we're gonna do dot, so basically concatenating it. And we're gonna put live.value. So let's say we have 5 lives, we're gonna do lives, and we're gonna have 5 right here. Then we're gonna do live changing, and then we're gonna do display. So our little function right here, live changing display, is gonna fire here because we want when we join the game, we don't want to start with like 0 lives because we're gonna be starting off with this text right here. But let's say you have like 5 lives, and you actually want to see how many lives you have. So we're gonna fire the function so it actually shows us. So it's actually gonna show us our lives and then dot value and all that. So it doesn't start with 0. It actually shows how many lives we have when we join the game. And then we're gonna do live.change connect function. So it's gonna keep updating the every time the lives are changed. And then for this part, we're gonna humanoid.died connect function. And then we're gonna fire remote event. The reason I fire remote event is because I want to make sure that exploiters can't go into your script and try to change their life value depending on, like, let's say they die, they gain a life. So that'll be a disadvantage to other players. That's why I made a remote event so it can be more accurate, and exploiters will be able to really get into this, even though they can still manage, but it's gonna be way more complicated to do this. Okay, so now we're gonna do died. Now we're gonna locate the events. So inside of storage, we have events. We have died fired, and we're gonna have a debounce. So now we're gonna do events, died fire, on server event connect function, and we're gonna run player through the parameters. Now we're gonna do if debounce player that returned M. Now we're gonna do debounce play equals true. We're basically just making our simple server-sided debounce. Now we're going to look at our lives just like how we always did, and now we're going to do, so basically whatever you put inside this code is basically, okay, if the player dies, they're going to lose a life. So when the player dies, they lose 1 life. And now we're going to do when the character is added, because when the player dies, all this is going to fire. But this won't fire until the actual player loads back. Now we're going to check if their life.value is equal to 0. And then we're going to set their spawn point to the no life part inside our little tiny purgatory inside of here. So we can set them inside of there, and they have to talk to our little person, our little life giver, so they can get some lives back. I made a little tiny weight here so they can't like spam death or whatever, just to be safe. And then we're gonna start debounce equal to 0. That's basically super simple. You're probably wondering why we did spawn function, because this is a little weird thing that what happened. Like if you don't have spawn function here, it won't teleport the player when they come back with this character added function. So that's why you have to put like spawn function here, so it just runs outside of the script, but it will still run when this is fired though. So that's why this is why this is gonna work. So basically after we do that, we're gonna go into our life giver now. So our life giver is one of my friends wrote it. So we're gonna do inside of here. I named him life giver. What I did here, I basically made a billboard GUI. Inside this billboard GUI, I added a text label, and all I did here is that I just changed the name to life giver. And inside of billboard GUI, what I did here was I just scaled it. So I'm pretty sure you guys all know what scaling is. But if you don't, I set the size outside of 0.0 and 2, and I did the size of 4010. So that I basically just set it like this so it looks nice. So when I zoom out, you actually won't see the billboard GUI. When I come in, you actually see it. So inside of here, inside of this human root part, I have a click detector inside the script, and inside of here I have this script right here. So I have script.parent.mouse click connect the function player, and we're gonna run player inside of the mouse click function. So now we're gonna locate the player GUI, and now we're gonna locate the lives frame. So now this lives frame is gonna be let me go here, lives main frame. So this is basically where we're gonna be accessing our yes or no. Let me make it non-visible for you guys, so make it visible so you guys can see. So this is what we're gonna be accessing, right? It's gonna be our yes, it's gonna be our no, it's gonna be our tiny text and display. So inside our script here, we're gonna do every time they click on the mouse click detector, we're gonna make it not of our frame.visible, our lives frame.visible. So basically what we're doing here is making sure every time they click on it, it's gonna come off and come on. So every time they click the no button, so the no button right here, it's gonna be equal to false, because they don't want to get a light. You know, say if you do want to go back and they say no, okay. Now if they click yes, so lives frame.yes, mouse button click mouse button 1 down, connect the function. We're gonna remove the frame so it's not visible no more. We're gonna add a life to the player's life. We're gonna give the player a life, and then we're gonna set the player's human root part to a random point inside the map. So we did vector3.new, we did math.random 1 out of 20, and we did our y0, and we did math.random 1 out of 30. So it's gonna randomize where the player's gonna teleport. And after all that, the player, let's say I click on this, the player will spawn somewhere around this area. And now that's basically how you make your Rogue Lineage life system. If you have any questions, leave them down below. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe. I appreciate you watching the video all the way through. Thank you.